This is interesting. October Red Boxing here with Clifton Mitchell and Johnny Nelson, who's trying to sort out some last-minute tickets by the looks of it.
Yep, he's trying to make out they're more expensive than what they are.
I can't wait for him to get off the phone.
Right, well on.
Can you move your hand, please?
I'll phone you back 1 second. Well on. I'm recording you hustling, are you?
Can you move your hand?
But your hand was on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're not the only one that wears tight trousers. Oh my!
Sorry.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just doing a meeting.
Meeting.
Was betting out Bomac, and I laughed because I was watching. That's what Brennan used to do. You know, he'd dig into the man behind the fighter just to twist up the fighter, and nobody knew what he was doing. But if you were from the gym, you'd look at you'd laughing, thinking, "Shit, they've fallen for that one." And people now, they've forgotten the true essence of being a coach. It's not just about learning you to punch someone in the head. It's about mental warfare. And Dominic actually didn't realise until afterwards. He's phoned me at night time. He said, "You know when I did it, Johnny? I actually thought, oh my God, I'm my dad. That's what my dad does."
I sit in the gym now, right, and all the fighters come in the gym, yeah,
yep.
And people will come and tell me things about them all the times, yeah. And we used to think, how's Brendan know that? People just ring Brendan, and people ring me and says, "Oh, do you know that? I seen your fighter out the other night, yeah. He was drunk, or you know, or he was, seen him running or whatever." You know what I mean? So it's funny because you think to yourself, well, let's see how he knows now. People just come and tell you. People want to tell you, you know. I want to tell you. But like I said, you know, I run a very successful security company. Johnny's a top pundit on Sky. And honestly, he seen me. He knew what I came to Sheffield with. He knows what I came to Sheffield with, yeah? He gave me a pair of shoes to go to work.
Really?
Yeah.
With the sponsorship. So Brennan used to. He'd always teach us.
But let me finish, yeah. Before he says that, but this is what type of guy he is, yeah. He didn't have to do nothing for me, yeah. Let him carry on.
Yeah. So what I found that when coming through, when you ain't got nothing, nobody wants to give you anything. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, when you get a bit of a name or you're doing something, everyone wants to give you something.
If you make sure you go back into that spot, we should be all right. Only because I've got one mic.
I can't get tickets, Rasta. And this guy's
This is interesting. October Red Boxing here with Clifton Mitchell and Johnny Nelson, who's trying to sort out some last-minute tickets by the looks of it.
Yep, he's trying to make out they're more expensive than what they are.
I can't wait for him to get off the phone.
Right, well on.
Can you move your hand, please?
I'll phone you back 1 second. Well on. I'm recording you hustling, are you?
Can you move your hand?
But your hand was on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're not the only one that wears tight trousers. Oh my!
Sorry.
What is wrong with you?
I'm just doing a meeting.
Meeting. Right, we'll start again. October Red Boxing here with Clifton Mitchell and Johnny Nelson. The thing is, why I wanted to get you two together is you two have known each other for a very long time.
You know when you said to me you were going to do this, I got scared because if my mum was watching this side, you see that? You see that? You sit with him? Shit, the boat I know. So I'm scared of what information he's going to let loose. So we're good, we're all right. But whatever I did, he did. Just remember that.
Just so you know, we haven't briefed for this. This is as raw as it comes. And I'm going to hand over to Clifton.
Why are you doing to me? Why? What do you want me to say?
I just want to know how you two first met.
I think we've said this. How would I say? A few times, but the first time I actually met him was in Derby. He boxed my cousin called Peter Reid. Both of them had a really stinking fight, and they was both in the change rooms after the fight, squaring off again. And I thought, well, Peter's on my side, I'm going to whack his kid with a chair. You know what I mean? That's exactly what was going through my head. But his dad said to him, Johnny, you're not doing nothing, come on and get out. And that's what he does. Yeah. And so we was all laughing at him, going, go on, go with your dad. Go on, run off. Your daddy's here for going, go on. But that's how, and then I didn't realise it was the same person until he told me that. And about probably 9 years later, I go up to Sheffield. My amateur coach said to me, we're going to go Sheffield sparring because there's no sparring around here for you. So he sorted out with Brendan Ingle. So I've gone up there, got my bag, standing in the gym, and it's the first time I'd call it done me head in straight away. Never ever happened to me this before. So usually it's me that does this type of crap. So he's walked into the gym. Brendan says, "Johnny, I've got someone for you to spar with." So I remember what he was wearing. He was wearing this big long trench coat. Yeah. Where walked in the bag, said, looked at Brendan and went, dropped his bag and went, "Can he fight?" And just walked off.
Oh wow.
Absolutely done my head in straight away. I thought, you'll find out when they're getting out. Honestly, Brendan's saying would have been, you could have hit him with a handful of rice. I'll just swing. I thought, you know what? If I can put some of that into my aggression, that's the reason why I signed. That's how it started.
Yeah, so back to the amateur thing. So my dad, so Clifton, and they all look big then. Clifton and all his boys, so me and his cousin boxed, and it was a rubbish fight. Remember, I had 13 amateur fights, I only won 3, so that was rubbish. And so we were just like pretending to each other, give me this one. And then when we're walking down, when we're coming out, and Clifton's lot were coming in, me and him started mouthing off to each other, and like them, like they were gonna jump us, and I'm with my dad, my stepdad. He's only small, and we were just like, yeah, come on. My dad said, "Johnny, listen, you can't fight, come on." And I'm like, and they all started laughing at me, and I'm like, oh God. So I didn't get done by them, I got done by my dad, and they just hammered me. And then Clifton came up. I'd boxed for the world title the first time. I was only about 22. It was a rubbish fight, another one again. And Clifton came up, so I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder because everybody's saying I was rubbish. And then Clifton came up, and Clifton said to Brendan, "If you can get him a world title shot, if you can get that for him, you got to do that for me." So when he said, "John, I've got you someone to spar," I said, "Can he fight, Bren?" Bastards. Because everybody used to come up and think I'd take the piss. But ever since then, we've been best of mates. He was you put it this way. In Sheffield, I had one guy that used to knock him out with all the time, Mark Willie. Straight as a die, straight as a guy. Then Clifton come to Sheffield, and my mum met him. First time, she said, "Johnny, now by the follow Clifton, you can go back to, you can go back at Derby, you can't follow him." And so that's when life changed, man. That's when I saw the light. But yeah, it was a good education. But even when Clifton came to Brendan, to look at what he's done now, we both learned a hell of a lot from Brendan. Trust me, a hell of a lot. And we're probably at that stage in our life with absolute no-hopers in one way or another. Brendan taught you he didn't teach you how to remember, he taught you how to think. You understand? Think on your feet. So you can read a book and remember what it says, but you've got to be able to think on the spot. So when it comes to people, handling people, that's what he taught us how to do. And that's something they don't teach in schools. Yeah, they don't teach you that. They don't teach you that stuff in schools, and that's what they should teach, because there's many people like Clifton and myself that went through the system at the gym, but the public don't want to know about that. The people, the TV don't want to know about that. But that was the real lesson in all of it.
I think going to Sheffield was my university. Understand? Because they didn't do nothing at school, passed no exams, did nothing at school. So going to Sheffield was my kind of university. My university is road, normally. Went up there, and then what I did for Johnny and what Johnny did for me, we kind of swapped each other. He taught me how to be a professional, as in like how to train properly, how to live the life as a professional fighter, do the right things, and I just broke. And showed to him, like, you know what, you got to be a man here, understand? Because obviously Brendan said I had a chip in his shoulder. I didn't have a chip on my shoulder. I just didn't take shit from people, understand? And growing up the way I grew up was a little bit different to how Johnny grew up, understand? He was, as much as he's coming from a Jamaican household, he was still very protected his mum, protected him. Yeah, so he was coming from, and he went from the house to the gym, really. Understand? Where me, I was going blues, I was in sound system. Yeah, sound systems, you know what I mean? I grew up, that's how I grew up, you know? So, going to Sheffield made me bring out my potential, I'd say. Not only as a fighter, I feel I've done a lot better outside the ring than I did in the ring. And I didn't do too bad inside the ring, to be fair. But all in all, I think Brendan he sows seeds into you that you don't even realise they're growing until later on in life, and then you can call back on these certain things like Brendan would have said it. Or even now, if you go to my gym now, you've been in there, you've seen it. I've got the picture of him just above my head in the ring. Understand? So, you know, he did a lot. Understand? I'm not saying he was the best ever manager or trainer or anything else, but take that aside, him as a package, there was nobody better. You know?
And we talk about that, and I like what you said, because we are all of Jamaican heritage. And that you're right, there's different upbringings. Sometimes you can get the more stricter upbringings when it comes to, say, you're in the church, or you can get like yourself, like myself. We were into the sound business, we were going out. So there's a difference with it. But the one thing in common is boxing and wanting to learn and wanting to get better. You two started off as potential rivals, but the boxing brought you together.
All of my friends that I have today are from boxing. I don't remember anybody from school. I ain't really got many people outside of boxing, because boxing, it's a family. You know, we might fight like cat and dogs, but it's a family.
Blood makes you related, yeah. But family's different. Understand? Family's different, you know.
Yeah, so I just think with boxing, it's best education ever. You know, to me, it's not just that it's not just fighting. It's how it's a transferable skill, where it's how you conduct your relationships, friends, family, and all that sort of stuff. It makes all the difference. And you know what? You look at boxing now, and like, so the other night when Dominic was betting out bout, and I laughed because I was watching. That's what Brendan used to do. You know, he'd dig into the man behind the fighter, just to twist up the fighter, and nobody knew what he was doing. But if you were from the gym, you'd look at you'd laughing, thinking, "Shit, they've fallen for that one." And people now, they've forgotten the true essence of being a coach. It's not just about learning you to punch someone in the head. It's about mental warfare. And Dominic actually didn't realise until afterwards. He's told me at night time. He said, "You know when I did it, Johnny? I actually thought, oh my God, I'm my dad. That's what my dad does." Yep. And I was telling him about one of the occasions when his dad did it with me and fighting somebody. He did it with Nat, and it was brilliant. I can remember Brendan doing it with. There was a press conference and Chris Eubank turned up, and Naz was fighting, and Chris stole the line like off Naz. So remember, he's got to build up Naz's confidence. So Brendan ripped into Chris. And it was like embarrassing, thinking shit, but he took the attention back onto the back of Chris onto Naz, you know, and it was.
Jose Mourinho does it with Chelsea, didn't he? Yeah. Every time, that's what he did. Took the limelight, took all the pressure off him, put it all on himself, you know. But I think, all in all, boxing, you know, the people that you meet in boxing usually stay your friends for life. Usually, understand? A lot of people come and go. I've known Johnny since must have been 16 when he boxed then, understand? And we're a lot of things.
I know obviously you're not going to go into the sharing issue.
Chicken, chicken.
You and your chicken, you're back on the chicken again. Is that the code name?
Yeah.
Chicken.
Food.
So you're talking about how this relationship developed. You both came out of boxing, as in retired from the sport itself. But then keeping that friendship going, as you're the TV presenter.
But you know what? Even so, like now, a lot of fighters come to me, and I take them to Clifton, and so Clifton will control that side of it. You know what I mean? And he's got it on because I trust him what he does. He trusts me and it works out well. So, what we're doing now, we'll do this, cool. You know what I mean? And that's how it comes through. And that's how it works. That's how it works. And that's why, listen, eventually one of them will slip through, one of them will come through, and then they'll pick up and think, oh my God, these two, I remember these two. You know, they're bringing fighters through. So I saw him on social media the other day talking to his fighters about doing the hard work in the gym, and I thought, you know what, he's doing a Brendan. I get that, you know, giving him a talking to, but you got to do that. So Brendan's legacy lives on through his fighters, and we learn, even though we don't realise we're learn so much, and so that's. There's probably a lot of stuff Brendan, you just couldn't lie to him. So there's probably a lot of stuff we do now thinking, boy, if Brendan found that out, but that's just how it is.
It's funny though, because I sit in the gym now, right, and all the fighters come in the gym, yeah,
Yep.
and people will come and tell me things about them all the times, yeah. And we used to think, how's Brendan know that? People just ring Brendan. And just people ring me and says, oh, do you know that? I seen your fighter out the other night, yeah? He was drunk or, you know, or he was, I seen him running or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's funny because you think to yourself, well, let's see how he knows now. People just come and tell you. People want to tell you, you know? They want to tell you. But like I said, you know, I run a very successful security company. Johnny's a top pundit on Sky, and honestly, he seen me. He knew what I came to Sheffield with. He knows what I came to Sheffield with. Yeah, he gave me a pair of shoes to go to work.
Really?
Yeah.
With the sponsorship. So Brendan used to. He'd always teach us.
But let me finish. Yeah. Before he says that, but this is what type of guy he is. Yeah. He didn't have to do nothing for me. Yeah. Let him carry on.
Yeah, so what I found that when coming through, when you ain't got nothing, nobody wants to give you anything. Then all of a sudden when you get a bit of a name or you're doing something, everyone wants to give you something. And to me, it never made sense. And so I'd take advantage of that. I'm thinking, if that's how you want to play it. So this shop, they said, look, you can come down and have some stuff. I went, Cliff, come. You know, we went down. I said,
93, you know,
yeah.
Kitted out.
I said, Cliff, come. And he went, what? I said, just take what you want. We kitted out. Yeah.
Clothes, yeah. 200. That's 90. Yeah, everything, mate.
And we went to taxi out and Clifton. Can we take it? I said, take the thing, man. And so because the guy said, take what you want. Right? The devil's in the detail. So I said, he's with me. So we're just, you know. And we come out of the place and he's saying, I can't believe that shit. I said, they gave it. Next time we'll think about what he's saying. And if I got stuff, as far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? If I've got it, even if I don't want it, I'm going to take it and give it to everybody else, because they need it. You know what I mean? It's not to say, yo, look what I'm doing. It's because they need it. I'm when Naz used to be sponsored by Adidas, and used to get truckloads of things delivered to his house every season, new everything, and he won't give nobody nothing. Really? He won't give nobody nothing. He'd have rooms full of stuff.
I'm surprised about that, but
Do you know what? To be fair, it didn't matter to us because it never fit us anyway, so we were even out Bob.
That's what I'm saying. He could have hooked us up, couldn't he? Could have hooked us up and say, yo, hook him up. But he had like rooms and stuff inside the room. I'm like, man.
Boxes and boxes. It's like a shop.
Yes. I bet
Someone told me that. He asked him for a pair of trainers, yeah? Guy asked him for a pair of trainers, yeah? So the ones he was wearing took off and gave him. That's what I'm saying. He's probably got stuff that he still hasn't worn from 19 long time. But then it's just your mentality. In my head is you bring people on and give everybody else a help, because if you're not going to do it, why should somebody do it for you? You understand?
so I'm gonna touch on that then, because you've both been around boxing for a long time. You get it. You understand the culture of boxing. Why is it then, even still now, there's a crabs in the barrel mentality? Like not with the fighters,
it's everything else around it.
So you talk about surrounding boxing, because obviously there's a lot involved in boxing.
You've got these boxing trainers, boxing fitness, you've got PTs, everybody thinks that they're the most professional in the sport. Back when we were fighting, mate, your trainer did everything. Understand? You might go to a weight training gym yourself, but you wouldn't really call it a PT, personal trainer. But I'd say that there's a lot of people that live off the back of fame touches, as you'd say. There's a lot of them that just be in the same gym as somebody and they tell everybody they're the trainer. Just being friends with them on Facebook can do it, understand? Or just posting loads of things about somebody makes you... But
So what changed? What changed in boxing?
Well, I'll tell you what's changed. Social media. Just what we're doing now. Understand? There's true people in it, like yourself, and there's other people in there that are just want to be around and want to jump on every bit of footage. And I just think that it's more commercial now than it's ever been. And it's more accessible for everybody now, so everybody can have a little piece of it if you want. And the person that can ask the best questions, or the person that can get the best interviews, or get the most out of people, really should come to the top. Not because you've got so many followers or this and that, because I'd rather have 50 followers that 50 people engage than have 1,000 followers where only 10 people engage, you know? So I think it makes more sense.
And boxing is one of those sports, Brendan always says, it's a dirty, rotten, prostituting game. At its worst, at its best, it's the best sport in the world. And because individuals profit, it attracts the worst out of human nature. Because you're talking dollars here, you're talking money. And it's down to one person to do the job, and down to everybody else to try and hustle that person, saying, well, I'm going to justify my job. So you're doing the work, you're risking getting your arse bust, but I've negotiated how much you get paid, so I have a piece. I've negotiated where you fight, so I'm having a piece. I've negotiated just everybody. So all of a sudden, the man that's putting his neck on the line, even though he can fight, everybody's teching. So then what happens? Everybody's getting fearful of, I don't want you to teeth my man because I'm making off him. Okay. I don't want you to teeth my man. So therefore, everybody's trying to drag you. Don't go to him. He's workless. He's no good. Blah blah blah. That's the crab in the bucket effect. You know. So boxing's always been like that. It's always been. Mike Tyson. You hear him telling a story about when he'd be at a show and the trainer would come up to talk to him and just talking, saying, "How you doing? All right." Because somebody would come and say, "Do you know this young man?" To the trainer, and the trainer said no. He said, well, what the fuck are you doing talking to him out and cussing him out?
Serious?
Because
he's trying to protect his asset.
Yeah, he's trying to protect his asset. He don't want people to get in the air. And the problem in boxing is fighters can come up and things are cool. Then someone with probably more of a profile, more money, more potential, but whisper in his ear and say, listen, come with me because and just fool up the kid. So the kid leaves what's working for him to go elsewhere.
Just plant that seed in his head. Yeah. But like, you know, it's all right for a fighter to leave. It is all right for him to leave. Because sometimes they think to themselves, you know what, I've had enough of you. But when they go and realise that the grass isn't greener, it's astroturf, it's not even grass, then they're allowed to come back. But they ain't leaving again. Understand? That's how I see it. But like you said, you know, everybody's trying to justify their job, so everybody will be trying to do everything for the fighter. And then sometimes that's when the fighter becomes a bit of a prima donna, unless you keep them well and truly with their feet on the floor. Because people are running around doing shit for them, they're gonna carry on making people do it for them. Understand? So the team you have, you shouldn't be bringing in other people. It's when you start bringing more and more and more and more. What do you need? What do you need around you? You don't need that many people. You know, no disrespect to certain, like I've seen a lot of these top fighters, they've got like 20 and 30 in the entourage. And about half of them not even getting paid. They just want to run around in the tracksuits. I'm involved. Listen, if you want me to come with you, you pay me. Understand?
I remember Manny Pacquiao, and I went to see him training. He had one man putting this glove on, one man putting that glove on. Trust me. One man just massaging his shoulders as he's there. Everybody's getting paid, you know. Yeah, and that's the kind of people it attracts. Mike Tyson, remember when he came to London, and we was in the room, and Mike says, Mike's in the room, and Naz was there, and Mike Tyson, Naz said, yo, I can hook you up with some girl, you know, if you want. And Mike said, what? I was dealing with Naomi Campbell before you even knew who she was. Then he started preaching and saying, listen to me, see how my boy's in, he's got all his entourage there. He said, every time I fight, each one of them on $20,000, I take care of my boys. Make sure you do that. Do you take care of those? And that's went, yeah. Me and Clifton looked at each other and say, I ain't getting paid. You know what I mean? But and that's what it attracts. You read Mike's book. He told you about Manoan's teeth in his belts or rope protecting his car because Mike could have a car, it'd run out of petrol. Instead of filling up, he'd just leave the car, get another car. But it attracts the vultures, the cockroaches. Our game does, and so you can understand some fighters being a bit insular, as if they're not trusting anybody. But they lose their soul, they lose their character, lose who they are, and that's so. There's very few that are unscathed by their boxing career. The ones I know, everybody I know, are exactly the same people. Clifton's exactly the same person I knew from back then. You know, I'm exactly the same person I knew from back then. There's enough people I know, I'm thinking, has money changed you? And I asked Brendan that once. He said, money doesn't change you. Money just magnifies who you are. You understand? And saying that, I'm like, shit, that's right. And that's the case. You know, a lot of these fights that are coming through are nice guys now because they're humble. They promise you the sun, moon, and stars. I give you this, I'll do that, I'll do this. All of a sudden, when they make the dollars, it's like, I ain't giving you shit.
Yep, correct. You know, and then you've got some fighters that are just the same all the way through. Few and far between, but you know, to be fair, to get in the ring and do what we do, you can't be all there and there anyway. So
I've said that.
yeah. So you know, imagine negotiating with certain fighters. Nigel Benn for one, Chris Eubanks for another. That's why you've got to have people that'll do that for you instead of you sitting there doing that, because you'd end up promising to beat people up in the room. But I think, all in all, boxing's a beautiful, beautiful sport, and instead of the people in it that make it difficult.
But you say about, like you said, money just magnifies who you are as a person, but you got to think about, you two have been boxers. Okay, fair enough, there's a lot of money involved in it now, and like you said, you've got your entourage around you, but then how do you keep that mind stable? You know, when you
It's got to be your coach for one, your partner, your close friends, most of all, because if they start pandering to you and saying then, because you can't. Listen, they've got to tell you the truth. If people ain't telling you the truth around you...
When Naz was on his high, we were around it because we're all friends. Nobody was getting paid, you know. So when we flew all over the place and saying, yes, Naz has paid entourage, nobody, if you worked and you said, yo, we're going to America for 2 weeks, you lost 2 weeks' wages from your job. The only thing Naz paid for was your flight. Because we all went, in your hotel room, because we all went because we were like, it was a good laugh. We had a good laugh. And that's how it was. And so in doing that, everybody's learning off what's happening as well, because remember, that could be you one day. So you're going to learn with all the attention and the lavish lifestyle that it brings in. So we were all learning. Nobody was getting paid. But now that ain't that case. You know, when you got guys travelling around with an entourage, travelling around with nobody, or every single one of them, you think when Floyd Mayweather's on the move, them man are doing it for nothing. They're all making a hefty living out of that. But it's just the mentality.
Different mentalities, and some people are just different. Yeah. Some people will give you the cash to buy that phone. Some people will buy that phone for you. Yeah. You understand?
trust.
No. Some people just don't like giving you hard cash.
Independence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that's like a form of control?
Of course it's a control. You know, I know he wouldn't want to give you the cash. He'd buy you the phone. So it's like, I'm buying it here. Understand? Rather than giving you the cash to do what you want with it. You know what I mean? That's how some people are. Some people are like you to do well, but not better than them.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. That is something that is extremely common. But there's something that you guys have touched on, and it's about coaches and teams. And the only reason why I'm going to bring this up, because it's something relevant and something that we kind of like don't know what's going on with it. And it's who Anthony Joshua is training with. You know, what seems to be a breakdown of his team. Now, I know you were there when he went to fight Usyk.
Yeah.
And as a coach, also a father, and also someone with experience in the sport, what energy were you picking up from AJ when he went into that fight?
My AJ comes to the ring in different moods, understand? And that was like, it wasn't an Andy Ruiz mood, but I think sometimes you can be too clever for yourself. As like another thing that Brendan would say, 3 smart, outsmart yourself. Yeah, you're too smart, and then you're 3 smart, you outsmart yourself. Yeah, and I think that you can take on too much information and overload the system. So when he got in the ring, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Really, he had an idea, but he couldn't really, because he didn't have a definitive plan of how he was going to fight. I think that's the reason why he struggled to come to terms with it. Next time he comes out, I think he knocks him out. Honestly, I thought he could have knocked him out. In that fight, he just needed to press. Understand? But he didn't. And Usyk in his day and Johnny's day, I backed Johnny to beat him. Understand? I'm not saying that because he's my bestie. You know what I mean? I'm saying that because I believe it, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe it. You know?
But going back to the thinking side, you said, you know, your trainer, Brendan Ingle, taught you how to think. Yeah. So that means he's teaching you to fight off instinct.
Let me give you another analogy. Johnny was a boy in a man's body when he boxed his first world title. 22. Imagine at 22, you think you're a man, but or a woman, you're not a woman. Understand? And did it again.